Hello, I'm Michael Aranda.
I'm Nanalew.
What's going on, bitches? This is Jack from jacksfilms.
You are watching St. Elmo's Fire.
You're watching St. Elmo's Fire.
You're watching St. Elmo's Fire.
So I'm in Toronto. Toronto is having the first ever Buffer Festival, which is a film festival for online video creators. It's basically a multi-day theatrical event which showcases the best works from today's most innovative online video creators, from comedians to musicians to vloggers to filmmakers to online educators. People might ask, okay, so you're going to a film festival for YouTube, but isn't YouTube free? Can't you see all those works online for free? Most people's understanding of YouTube is that it's a search engine for viral videos and cat videos. It's totally so much more than that. There is actually a YouTube community out there. What? A YouTube community? Yeah, there's really a YouTube community out there. They're just people who enjoy making and watching online videos. This is really an opportunity to get to meet people who also share that love. And the cool thing about this festival is that content creators who've made all these like really good online videos, they're going to be present at the event. So afterwards you get to meet them, which I'm really looking forward to. Anyway, that's enough about YouTube. Let's just go see Toronto. I started my Friday in Toronto by walking downtown to pick up my tickets for the festival. The first thing that struck me about the city, besides the buildings that made me feel 2 inches tall, was just how much glass there was, like here and most definitely here. After leaving the Tiff Bell Lightbox with my tickets, program, and lanyard, shameless channel plug, I headed to the Scotiabank Theater to see the sold-out Holy Trinity of Comedy show. What I loved about this show, and all the other shows at the festival, was that we were allowed and even encouraged to film the show. Because that's how YouTubers do film festivals.
You're welcome to use your electronics at any time. You can take pictures or video at most times.
Corey Vidal, the head of Apprenticea Productions and founder of the Buffer Festival, kicked off the show by introducing the Holy Trinity, better known as Hannah Hart of My Drunk Kitchen, Grace Helbig of Daily Grace, and Mamrie Hart of You Deserve a Drink. The funny ladies entertained us with their commentary as they showed us a highlight reel of their hilarious collaborations. They also answered questions from the audience like,
the way that you guys approach making your videos. Ooh. Do you guys like write a script, or you just turn the camera on and say, whatever happens, happens?
After the show, I headed to the Metro Toronto Convention Center, where you had the opportunity to meet with your favorite content creators. Mamrie had a really long line after the Holy Trinity show, so I decided to jump into the line for Shawna Howson, known on YouTube as Nanalew, who's known for visually stunning videos that make you laugh and feel things. Since I was in Canada, I had to try Poutine Smokes, where I ran into a family that was also attending Buffer Festival. Rowan. Hi. And Mackenzie.
And Alex.
Those friendly Canadians let me sit with them as we talked all things YouTube while I tried my first poutine. If you don't know what poutine is, it's basically fries, cheese curds, and doused in gravy. Does that sound accurate? For someone who comes from Wisconsin, cheese curds is like the thing to have, so it's the best. It's great. That evening I met some Bufferfest attendees who had also traveled solo to Toronto. We called ourselves the Lonewolves, and since we were YouTubers, it was the norm to have our cameras out while filming our first meetup.
It's like vlogception.
I found my people! We danced to Rebecca Black's Friday, engaged in discussions like the frustrating Google Plus and YouTube integration, and tried not to look like a bunch of hooligans huddled together to sell crack on a dark night in the middle of the city. Afterwards, Caitlin, Evangeline, Paul, Marika, Jackie, Aaron, and I headed to Jack Astor's for some food and drink, where there were crayons to draw on the table with, funny paintings hanging from the ceiling, and hockey on the TV, of course. On Saturday morning, I got dressed in my Pizza John shirt and headed to Tim Hortons for breakfast. Fun fact, their coffee is always fresh, because they brew a new pot every 20 minutes. That's good coffee. Then I headed to the Scotiabank Theater to attend the Charlieissocoollike show, where I met up with some fellow lone wolves. Elvina, right?
Yes.
And we also have Sam.
I'm Awkward Fuck 95.
Hosted by Michael Aranda, the show centered on the works of Charlie McDonnell, a 23-year-old Brit who's been on YouTube since he was 16 and has amassed over 2 million subscribers. We had the privilege of seeing Charlie's never-before-seen first film that he made when he was 13, as well as the trailer for his new short film, Offline, which we got to see before he uploaded it to YouTube. After showing some highlights from his channel and explaining the production process behind those videos, Charlie answered questions such as how he got started on YouTube and how he met fellow British YouTuber Nariman. Link in the description below. Charlie had a meetup after his show, so Alvina and I hurried to the convention center to get in line, where khyan Mansley, Andrew of Gunnarolla, and Andrew of Songstowearpantsto were also doing meetups. Waiting in line, I randomly spotted Sabrina, the young and talented Canadian known on YouTube as Nerdyandquirky. Yes. Charlie's line was absurdly long, so I was only allowed a few seconds to get a hug and a photo, but it was still pleasant nonetheless. I also got to meet Michael Aranda, who was almost too tall to be in frame for my camera. For lunch I headed to St. Lawrence Market, the internationally ranked market that's so famous that the Pope once bought jam there. Or something. I had to try Carousel Bakery's famous female bacon sandwich, and for dessert I tried a Nanaimo bar and butter tart from Eve's Temptations. Canadians, I love your food. That afternoon I went to the TIFF Cinema for the short film show, hosted by Khyan and Charlie. I got to see some terrific short films that I would have never discovered on my own, so thanks guys for broadening my YouTube palette. I was done with my shows for the day, so I decided to hop on a streetcar and visit the Distillery District. Located in the older part of Toronto, the district is known for its historic buildings and has been used in hundreds of film, TV, and music video productions. So as a film buff, it was pretty surreal to walk around a place I'd recognized from such movies as X-Men, Tommy Boy, and Chicago. After that I hopped on a bus to Polson Pier, where I got some shots of the Toronto skyline at night. Nice view, eh? Later that evening I headed to the Hyatt for the Bufferfest audience party, where I got to hang out with my Lonewolves while spending far too much on the cash bar. The dance floor was hopping with songs like Kentucky was holding drawings for prizes, and there was even a photo booth where we all dressed silly and showed our love for the Buffer Festival. Sunday was my last day in Toronto, so after packing and pinning on a poppy to observe Canada's Remembrance Day, I started my morning by heading to the CN Tower. Here I am at the top of the CN Tower. It's about 550 meters or 15 feet for Americans. We're looking at the west. Over here is actually Lake Ontario. In that direction I believe is Niagara Falls. Way across Lake Ontario is New York. So, America. From the top of the tower, I could see the layout of downtown, and I could even spot the venues I had attended for Buffer Festival. The tower even had a glass floor. It was really fun to step on and pretend I was hovering 1,100 feet above the ground. As per my international traveling tradition, I headed to Real Sports Apparel to pick up a soccer jersey, where I spotted Packers clothes. Wait, this isn't Wisconsin. At the last minute, I decided to buy a hockey jersey instead, because Canada. After grabbing a quick lunch at Timmy's, I headed to the TIFF Cinema to see Meghan Tonjes and Bryarly Bishop host the Women on YouTube show. They showed us videos from creators who weren't as well known, but were paving the way for what it means to be a woman on YouTube. There were laughs, tears, and honest discussions about overcoming the fear of putting yourself online and being real with your audience. Afterwards I headed to the Glenn Gould studio, where the Lonewolves and I had a row to ourselves as we watched the jacksfilms show. Hosted by Klitzner, the show featured highlights from Jack Douglas, known for parodies, music, sketches, and Your Grammar Sucks, a series in which he takes poorly written YouTube comments and reads them hilariously.
WTF? Are you one for pews, you jellyfish?
During the Q&A part, Jack offered some behind-the-scenes tidbits from his videos and revealed the inspiration for his creeper face. Link in the description below. I even got him to do the creeper face when I met him after the show. At that point in the evening, I had to catch my flight, so after taking the subway and bus to the airport, I was on my way home. I tried to read my Kindle, but I was still wired from the energy of the last few days and could only stare out the window, reflecting on my Buffer Festival experience. My favorite moments weren't when I was touring Toronto on my own, or even seeing and meeting high-profile YouTubers in the flesh. For me, the most fun parts were when I was hanging with the Lonewolves and other like-minded people at the festival. At Buffer, I could walk around wearing my Pizza John shirt, and people would get the reference. I could mention the name CTFXC, and people would understand what that meant. I could strike up a conversation with any one of them, which under normal circumstances is hard for me to do, but really easy in an environment where people are as passionate about online video as I am. It's hard for outsiders to understand that there's a community of people who make and watch regular content on YouTube, but my weekend at Bufferfest grounded it in reality for me. It was incredibly refreshing to talk about the medium of online video and this YouTube culture with people who actually get it. The people I met at Bufferfest reminded me that we aren't just anonymous usernames and a computer screen. We are real people who engage with online content and each other in a very real, concrete way. These people are the heart of the YouTube community. And after years of feeling like I was an outsider looking in, I finally feel like I'm part of that community.